Minimum height.
6 feet.
Yeah, that's where they get you. Would you exclude obesity?
Absolutely.
Minimum income, so.
I'm gonna say at least 200.
200 grand?
You can be 30 years old
Oh
and
my
make
goodness.
200.
Take a guess at what percentage of men fit this
2%.
criteria? 2%? Much lower. It's 0.049%. Cool.
All right, is this going on the TV?
What's the biggest ick when it comes to a guy?
Being broke.
Why being broke?
Because like you should have a good job. We're adults.
What's like the worst type of job a guy can have?
Like working in a pizzeria.
What's the worst job a guy can work?
Delivery driver.
What's the least amount of money a guy can make for you guys to date them?
$75,000 a year.
Yeah, I would say the same, like 75 to 80.
They're older than me.
So 25 to 35?
Over 6 feet. Beefy height.
Look, everyone's allowed to have their preference, but this is probably why there's that study that says that 45% of women will be single and childless in the year 2030, because there's too many modern women that have ridiculous expectations.
I'd never thought about dating somebody that makes $15 an hour. Like, but
okay.
See,
well, let's get to this. You're 5'5"?
Yes.
Dress size?
Like a 9, 8, 9.
How much did you weigh last time you weighed yourself?
Oh, I just left the gym. I'm a former gymnast, so I'm like 185, 190.
So at 5'5", 190 pounds, you weigh more than a man.
Very possible.
So that means you're below average from a fitness standpoint.
Well, muscle weighs more than fat, and I'm a former.
I don't care how. Okay, ma'am, we can do that, but 5'5", you're supposed to be closer to 130. I don't care how. You could have Kryptonian muscle fibers. It shouldn't be 200 pounds as a female. And I'm making this to prove a point, because see, notice how it varies so much with women, that men are supposed to accept 5'5", 200 pounds because muscle weighs more than
I
fat.
said 195. You put the extra
195. It's that much.
85.
185. I'm sorry. Still, but men are supposed to accept 185 like it's no big deal. But if we actually extrapolated that down to money, you should be able to accept 40,000, just like a man should accept 185. That's the way our minds work.
And I don't disagree with that, but weight is something that fluctuates. You can change that easier than usually you can change the tax bracket. So, and I'm not saying that.
And I guess the point I was ultimately getting to is, and you're right, you can change weight, and I say that often. That's why I tell women the one thing you can impact more than anything else is your weight. So there's no excuse for a woman to weigh more than a man at her height. Simply is not. That's not how the Creator made you. Females of the species in mammals don't weigh more than males, except in hyenas, and they're ass backwards. They also have the female hyena also has a penis, penis-looking organ that she gives birth through. Yeah, look it up.
Really?
That's why when some folks associate things in our culture with hyenas, because it's backwards. It's backwards. Go look at the hyena and look at how backwards a matriarchy is and how the men die sooner. Check it out. Go look and see how they give birth. But I'm talking about to the audience. But let's get on to the next phase. At 32 years old, if you had to just rank yourself, scale of 0 to 10, you can't use 7, just your natural.
Earns more money than you.
I wouldn't mind.
You won't be bothered?
No.
I want my husband to earn like quite a substantial amount more than I do.
If he earned, I don't know, 50,000, 60,000 pounds a year.
That's not a lot.
That's not enough for you?
No.
Why, what plan did you got?
60,000 pounds a year?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
What's that wage like monthly? It's not, that's like £4,000 a month.
4, 5.
Who lives on that? No, that's not enough.
You can live on £4,000 a month.
I personally, me alone, but it's not just me alone.
What kind of things are you doing in your spare time? Cause he lives, you know.
Cause he lives. Cause living.
Yeah, you gotta scale it back. You gotta tone it down. She said £4,000 a month is no good.
No, but if I'm gonna settle with a man, he needs to have a decently great wage.
What? Because you're trying to spend it?
No, because I want to be provided for if I needed it.
Yeah, but what if he can provide for you within your means? You're trying to live beyond your means.
Within my means. No, not beyond my means. I want to have a nice life.
I don't know if I'm the guy for her. Like, I mean, I'd work. I'd try. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? But no, that's not my story, man.
You have a job. Shouldn't you be able to afford your lifestyle? Your money is our money. My money is my money. Modern women are so delusional. These girls' expectations are too much for even aliens to fulfill. Young women in the West are losing their minds. Men are unable to challenge them. Don't worry about it. Wait until they're 40, looking like 50 and single, burnt out, and still advertising their agenda. Then feel sorry for them. When it comes to salary expectations, I'm always shocked by the income women are looking for in a partner. I think more often or not, the women with such high expectations are uninformed with income statistics and just how few men earn their desired salary. Even if just 25% of women share this often unrealistic expectation of finding a partner who is a top 1% earner and are successful in their pursuit, then the vast majority of them will have no single men left to choose from which meet this criteria. The numbers don't add up. If women want to be equal to men, why are they still hypergamous in their dating and marriage choices? Well, because the last 100 years of feminist propaganda cannot nullify the last 100,000 years of evolution. All women everywhere have a hypergamous instinct, and unlike other men, I would never fault a woman for acting on her instincts. What I have a problem with is that feminism, combined with social media, can confuse instinct and cause behaviors that are counterproductive, if not outright self-destructive. Before, during, and immediately after World War II, women's expectations had been suppressed by society. For them, the ethos was, you need to get married. Almost any man will do. Beginning with the 1960s, the paradigm was reversed. Feminism taught women that they could have it all, including contradictory things like equal pay for equal work and the chance to marry up to a man who makes twice as much as them. Basically, if they made as much as men of equal caliber, the only way they could marry up was to get a man of a higher percentile rank in society. Feminism has been a thing for about 50 years or so now, and it has way exceeded its original scope in the Western world. Yes, there was a need to change from the rigid stereotypes that we were stuck in prior to feminism, men and women. But instead of seeking real equality, they have aimed for much more than that. Serious harm has been done to male-female relationships. So with that background, I'm saying that feminism has encouraged women to gain equality and defeat the patriarchy by generally denigrating all men and dismissing the value of masculinity, constantly emphasizing the notion of toxic masculinity and ignoring healthy masculinity, which is a great thing. In a cause and effect type of way, men are now being extremely cautious in relation to relationships, because were they to marry and have children, they are at a complete disadvantage if the relationship goes wrong and there is divorce. Family Court believes it is quite okay to disadvantage fathers and rob children of their good fathers in the name of best interests of the child. So relationships, marriage and family have lost their attraction for men. If you are not a high-earning man, you will hardly be considered by this current generation of would-be wives and mothers. And if you're a high-earning man, you will run the risk of being used for money and stripped of everything during divorce. Thank you, feminism. Men as a group are spineless and scared. They are trained to accept the short end of the stick rather than the long side. It is trained into them to marry down and date down, and for women to marry and date up. It is by design. Men as a group are too incoherent and isolated to understand this. They will continue to suffer in the dating world until they realize that everyone can either marry and date on their level, or up or down. Not just them having to lower their standards to accept low-value women, and women benefiting from hypergamy and moving up all the time. The reason why the Romans won in Gaul was because the Gauls were too dumb and couldn't team up to beat the Romans. They were stronger collectively, but just too dumb and feckless to win, so they lost. In the dating world, men have the tools and opportunities to win, but they are the imbecile Gauls in this equation, so they end up like the Gauls, beaten down into submission. There is a small handful who have evolved into non-Gauls and command their own space and environs, but they are vastly outnumbered. Women have told me I'm too picky once I found out they had kids, been divorced, are over age 33 and looking for a sucker, and choosing what is best for me. I told them you are free to do what is best for you. I owe you nothing, and I owe your kids nothing. I don't lie. I don't waste time. I pick what I want. Men are trained to pick what is left. Unpopular opinion though, most men live more happily because they eventually settle down in healthier relationships, or when they go MGTOW, after being dumped by their first wives for not being able to fulfill their unrealistic expectations. Women leave 80% of the time hoping that their lives will get better, but most of them end up being unhappy because they have fewer options once they become single mothers. Anyway, that's all for today on Manhood. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to know when I drop a new video. If you find value in my videos, you can show your support through PayPal or Cash App. The links are in the description. See you next time. Cheers!